Hey, are we all muted? Oh, ah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
I'm taking my vitamin.
Yeah.
Good to see y'all too.
Morning, Jennifer.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
Good, thank you.
We're in Colorado right now.
Oh, cool.
There's
How is
Ted.
it there?
Who's in Colorado?
Patrick and Annette.
Oh.
I got to show you this if I can commit to things. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yep, right on the Arkansas River. Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
I don't
It's
think you can
flowing.
see it very well, but
Does the river run through your property?
no. I wish it did. No, I'm actually about 45 miles from here. We're just kind of camping here right now, but
Can you see the river?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yep,
That's so cool.
it is.
yeah, it's pretty neat.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. Thank you for sharing, Pat.
Hi, Ruby.
Hey, hi, Annette. Good to see you.
Good to see y'all too.
Good morning.
Hi,
There you are.
everybody.
Hi,
Andy.
Barbara.
Barbara,
Oh,
everybody.
you guys. Hi, Ruby.
Hey.
Oh, my. I wish I was up there with y'all in that cool weather.
Yeah.
It's about what, 62 out there right now?
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, boy.
Something like that.
Yes. Hey, hey, Tammy.
Are you in Colorado though?
Yeah, we're in Colorado.
It gets hot in the daytime in Colorado. I've been there.
I need to
Yeah,
get
man.
this off of here.
It's been getting up
Yeah,
to
it
about
is.
78.
Oh, that's
Wow.
nice still.
Boy.
Usually the humidity
We
is
were
really
in
bad.
Durango and it was 89, 90 degrees. It was hot.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We were hiking in the mountains there when I
When
was
was that?
oh my God. Before I had cancer in my myasthenia gravis
Oh,
when
wow.
I was healthy enough
Well,
to hike. Yeah.
we Denver and down in Pueblo and Grand Junction. We listen to a lot of Colorado Public Radio. They're all getting close to 100.
Down there.
No, not muted.
Hey, Becky.
It is time to get started.
I was going to make a public service announcement.
Go ahead.
Hey, Carter Blood Care is everybody's short of blood, so donate blood. Carter will kick in an antibody test at no charge. That's a $125 value. Just get on the website, sign up, come and give blood. So, for what it's worth.
Sounds good. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Wave if you can hear me. Okay. My name is Marge Stockton, your worship leader for this morning's service, and this is Common Ground, our celebration of worship for people of many paths who gather to share in the responsible search for meaning and truth. This is a warm and open community where all who come with open minds and kind hearts are welcome, regardless of race, ability, gender identity, or sexual orientation. We hope that all who join us here today find this a safe place to worship. Now let's take the service slides down for a moment so you all have ability to have a gallery view of all the attendees. Please stay muted, but wave at everybody as we get ready for our virtual service. If I can figure out, stop sharing. There we go. All right, everybody. Good morning again. Great to see everyone. Wow. Wow. All right, here we go. Come on. We did that. Now let's sit back and enjoy our opening song by Jim Scott, Gather the Spirit, the COVID-19 version. Although we'll remain muted during the song, we encourage you to sing along and enjoy it to the fullest.
I wrote this song 30 years ago so my friend Pat LaManna could give it this contemporary message. Gather in spirit, not face to face. Let's do what we can to flatten the curve. Wash your hands often and don't touch your face. This virus is something no one deserves. Gather on Skype, gather on Zoom, gather by phone with family and friends. Gather online, but don't leave your room. Let's all stay safe until this crisis ends. Gather on Facebook, but not for too long. There's so many ways to sweeten the time. Take up crochet, write a new song, read a good book, bake brownies sublime. Gather on Skype, gather on Zoom, gather by phone with family and friends. Gather online, but don't leave your room. Let's all stay safe until this crisis ends. Gather in spirit, pray for the scared, the sick and the poor, the lonely at home. Count all your blessings and reach out and share. Let everyone know that they're not alone. Gather in Skype, gather on Zoom, gather by phone with family and friends. Gather online, but don't leave your room. Let's all stay safe until this crisis ends.
In UU, we light a flaming chalice in worship to create a reverent space for reflection, prayer, meditation, and singing. Our chalice words today are attributed to St. Francis of Assisi. Where hate rules, let us bring love. Where sorrow, joy, let us strive more to comfort than to be comforted. To understand others than to be understood, to love others more than to be loved. For it is in giving that we receive, and in pardoning that we are pardoned. I invite you to join me in a renewal of our sacred promises. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Now, as we all remain muted, I hope you will stand up, stretch, and sing along with our worship song, Better Days by Emma's Revolution.
We have come in the light to this place, in the light with our hearts, in the light open wide. We are here in the light giving voice, in the light to the truth, in the light we divine. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love in the light, giving hope in the light we create, in the light better days. We are born in the dark, we are fed in the dark, we connect in the dark through the veil. We are held in the dark, we are healed in the dark, mysteries in the dark we reveal. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love in the dark, giving hope in the dark we create, in the dark better days. Time is now. We begin where we are. We begin, we have all. We begin that we need to renew. We begin to release. We begin to rebuild. We begin to believe. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days.
Our call to worship, today's call to worship is called A Prayer for Uncertain Times by Cameron Wiggins Baum. May we who are merely inconvenienced remember those whose lives are at stake. May we who have no risk factors remember those most vulnerable. May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who must choose between preserving their health or making their rent. May we who have the flexibility to care for our children when their schools close, remember those who have no options. May we who have to cancel our trips, remember those who have no safe place to go. May we who are losing our margin money in the tumult of the economic market, remember those who have no margin at all. May we who settle in for a quarantine at home, remember those who have no home. As fear grips our country, let us choose to love. During this time, when we cannot physically wrap our arms around each other, let us find ways to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors. Amen. Today, we welcome back our speaker, Vance Goodman, a Quaker who enjoys reading, writing, the outdoors, and her bicycle. Vance recently moved to Asheville, North Carolina from Dallas to be closer to her parents, siblings, nephews, and nieces. She became involved with Pathways congregation when she lived in Dallas and is pleased to continue this relationship now that things have moved to a virtual digital style of engagement in worship. Vance initially moved to Dallas to attend seminary at Perkins School of Theology. While studying at Perkins, she served 2 years as a resident community campus chaplain for SMU. She completed her clinical pastoral education training at Children's Medical Center and worked for 7 years as the Heart Center chaplain and as the hospital's bereavement coordinator. Currently, Vance works as a services coordinator for the Council on Aging of Buncombe County, North Carolina. Vance continues to have membership with the Dallas Quaker Friends and has been involved with this meeting for the past 8 years. Also, what Vance did not say in her bio is that she is a poet with a blog of her own poetry. We can make the link available for poetry lovers. We are delighted to have some Goodman family members with us this morning as well. Now we welcome Vance to our virtual pulpit.
Good morning, everyone. If you can hear me, please wave so that I know that you, okay, good, good. The majority are waving, that's good. I'm very grateful and honored to be with you this morning. And I am also humbled by the topic of justice that you gave me to tackle. So to introduce the path that we will traverse today together, I'm going to attempt to tackle how embodiment can move us towards justice. First, we'll explore the roots of our disembodied society, the potential implications of a sacred or divine embodiment, and the importance of our own body's healing for the sake of our culture. Have you ever been surprised by yourself? Picture yourself pre-coronavirus, having dinner with a group of friends in a restaurant, when a song from the 60s comes on in the background, and you get tearful as you pass the bread basket. Your neighbor says to you, "What's going on with you?" And you really cannot explain it. Or picture yourself in a movie theater. The popcorn is in your lap and you have a drink by your side. You're ready to enjoy a movie when someone passes by you and you begin to feel anxious. You cannot quite place the reason for feeling anxious or justify it to your friend sitting beside you, but you know that your heart rate just skipped a beat when you saw the tweed jacket of the person that was passing. What about the smell of fresh baked bread? Can you explain your body's response to that fresh baked bread? Our bodies are truly amazing. We take in information through our senses, whichever ones we have intact. Our sight, our touch, our smell, taste, sound. And these pieces of information become encoded in our brains, processed by our minds. Our bodies first allow us to experience the world, and our minds then process that nanoseconds later. During the Enlightenment period, the rise of scientific inquiry and reason, philosophers put forth the idea that each of us is an autonomous self that acquires knowledge from accumulated experience. The oft-quoted theory of René Descartes, I think, or I doubt, therefore I am, paved the way forward toward the elevation of the mind, toward the elevation of conscious thought and rationale. This is, of course, what separates us from our animal selves and living plant matter. We can interact with the world around us. We can process information coming in, and we can make decisions how to engage and not always react solely due to instinct. We can think about things deeply. That is all well and good, because the Enlightenment was the beginning of so many amazing things. Scientific research, breakthroughs in physics and chemistry, mechanics and engineering. Certainly, we can be thankful for these philosophers and thinkers that got the ball rolling toward human progress. Yet, at the same time, the Enlightenment marks a period in Western culture when the body becomes merely the object of our ego's agenda. The body became an important vessel for the mind and the progress of thought and intelligence. We tell the body what it wants and what it needs, not the other way around. So then when this idea of having intellectual control and mind over matter intersects with the postmodern digital age of virtual reality and social media technology, we might as well be floating heads. How do we experience the body in the midst of connecting in a reality that sits in an iCloud or on Google Drive? What does the body have to say about our public posts on Facebook? Or about worshiping together today, looking at one another from mostly our clavicles upward? As Terry Atkins describes in an article on eclecticism and disembodiment, quote, "One of the most pervasive themes in fiction and theory has been that the human body is vanishing, irrelevant or interlaced with the machine. It has become an empty shell, robbed of what is variously called spirit, consciousness, and identity." Our modern technology exacerbates disembodiment, giving us both great connectivity with one another, while also allowing us to create social media selves that may or may not be anywhere close to the reality of the self that we are created to be. That is until something goes awry. You may have a story like that. Things seem to be going smoothly in your life. You have an established routine, and then boom, you get a 2 a.m. phone call that leaves you reeling. An awkward conversation that you feel comes out of nowhere and slaps you across the face. An accident, perhaps, or a diagnosis that brings you to your knees, knocks you out, backs you up. Something immobilizes us and we are forced to take a look at ourselves really closely. The coronavirus pandemic of 2020 paralyzed the postmodern world. The ways in which we were previously operating have come to a screeching halt. What we thought about our collective future plans have become less controllable than we ever imagined. And the fabric of our society, one that was already politically and environmentally fragile, has been torn asunder. We are forced to take a look at the inequity, the inhumanity, and the violence we did not even realize cognitively was creeping in. How did we not pay attention to our suffering environment and the disparity in culture, race, and class, as if our bodies depended on it? Why did we not stop the ticking clock before it stopped us? The white societal norm under which those in the United States live, regardless of color, culture, or class, taught us to become disembodied. Western culture decided that our identities are not tied to bodies, except around stereotyping those bodies as fitting certain categories. Who we are became more closely tied to what we think. I think, therefore I am. Yet disembodiment is a dangerous ideology that becomes the basis for injustice, violence, and unrest toward Black bodies, cultured bodies, differently abled bodies, old bodies, fat bodies, thin bodies, young bodies, bodies characterized by sexual or gender identities, even animal and plant bodies, to name just a few that have been hurt. Ta-Nehisi Coates, in his incredible book, Between the World and Me, tells the story of his Black body, what it is like to navigate in a white world in his Black body, and what this does to a highly educated Black man and his ability to father his Black son, also navigating the world in a Black body. He says, quote, "In accepting both the chaos of history and the fact of my total end, I was freed to truly consider how I wished to live. Specifically, how do I live in this Black body?" The Black Lives Matter movement asks the same question of all of us, tracing society's history of racism and placing this on the table front and center. So then how do I wish to live? How do I live in this human body and not just in my head? How do you live in your body, whatever form that takes for you? I think, therefore I am cannot serve us anymore because our thinking has gotten us into this mess. I cannot rationalize my way through the emotion that comes up when our world is halted by the pandemics of disease and inequality. Yet I have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. And like the pandemic of this novel and new virus, the pandemic of injustice is something we have to navigate through. Resmaa Menakem, a healer, author, and trauma specialist, says this: "There is a way out of this mess, and it requires each of us to begin with our own bodies. You and your body are important parts of the solution. Meninkum believes that we need to move from defining ourselves by race to taking a closer look at culture. He empowers and guides people to take a look at the racialized trauma that we have all experienced. He calls it white body supremacy trauma. That sounds very harsh. White body supremacy, when I sit with that in my body. But this is not something that I set up. This is not something that you set up. This is not something that appeared in this generation, or the last one, or the one before that. This racialized white body supremacy began way before any of us were on this continent, and it got perpetuated in the ways we established America at the beginning. Solely because this is history does not let us off the hook, though, in present day, because each of us has fallen prey to this racist white body supremacy trauma, no matter what color or culture or class you come from. Meninkum insists that we heal primarily in and through the body, not just through the rational brain. We can all create more room and more opportunities for growth in our nervous systems, but we do this primarily through what our bodies experience and do, not through what we think or realize or cognitively try to figure out. How do we do that? How do we pay attention? Today I'm going to offer a metaphorical idea, and I'm going to see how that lands. You see how that lands with you. And then we'll talk about some practical tools that we can all use. I want to offer a metaphor that may help ground our understanding of embodiment. As people gathered around a belief in some sort of transcendent mystery, some may call this divine, some may call this God, some may call it energetic love or the ground of your being. As people of faith around this mystery, how does our belief about this sacred source inform our belief about our bodies? How can our ideas about theology and the wellspring of life inform our anthropology in order to help us heal? I wonder what might happen if we begin to give a body to this mystery. Not to cage it in or to take away the mystery part of it, but to reimagine a metaphor to work from in our healing. What if this sacred source had the world as a body? What if we framed the world as God's body, or the body of the divine? If we can envision that metaphor as the physical body of the sacred, the world being the physical body of the sacred, if we can imagine the world to be God's body, the implications could be tremendous for us. Here are a few thoughts on those implications. First, this could mean that we begin to understand the sacred as being truly present, embodied, and close. Sally McFague, a professor, theologian, and author, puts forth this idea and describes it in this way. It means thinking of God as somehow physical, even as we are. To use a metaphor of body to speak of God is not to describe God, but it is a way of thinking about God on the basis of something very important to us, our bodies. Perhaps using this metaphor, we can hold an image of the sacred as close, as close as the world around us. Second idea is that if we are to think of this life force and this mystery as having a body, we might heal the dualistic divide between body and spirit, between body and mind. Because we can no longer elevate the spirit and mind as being more important or more intellectual than the body. Because if the ground of our being also has an embodied nature, then bodies become immensely important to us and on an equal playing field with other aspects of our identities. The last and scary implication that I'll put forward is that if this source, the divine or God, takes the world as a body, humanity then has the responsibility as co-creators alongside the power to heal and the power to destroy. We can choose or not choose to join God in conscious care of the world. If we utilize this metaphor, and if the sacred moves into the body, perhaps we can also. Allowing this divine mystery to come close, realizing that the body is our source of information and understanding, and putting our bodies back in line with the spirit and mind, making the choice to heal this body of our world can have the potential to bring us back into ourselves to do the needed work we need to do. The work we need to do is within our bodies, individually and collectively. All of us need to begin to recognize the information that our bodies are sharing with us about injustice. We need to talk about it. We need to explore culture and talk about it. I'll give you some examples. I have to recognize my body's comfort level with hummus and noodle casseroles. And I need to understand its discomfort with fried crickets and chitlins. I need to sit with what it feels like to be white and to love bluegrass music. And I need to understand why my body moves in a certain way to swing music and why it feels awkward moving to rap music. I want to understand my physical reaction to words like racism, white privilege, white body supremacy. I need to understand the anger and rage that comes up when I see another Black body is being victimized, profiled, and hurt. And rather than turn off the news, I need to feel that in my body. As Meninkum explains, the only way to heal this trauma is by moving into relationship with it. So today, I encourage you to ponder divine embodiment in our world, and then to recognize what it feels like to inhabit your body, pleasure, pain, and all of it. Recognize how your body navigates in this culture. Let it surprise you, and talk about it in safe spaces with others. As we begin to collectively heal this disembodied, white cultured trauma, perhaps we can begin to embody justice, first within ourselves, by being aware of the sacred nature of all of our bodies and the body of this world. Only once we've healed the trauma can we then make important and needed decisions, policy changes, and systemic transformation that will hopefully render this disembodied society unrecognizable. Because the hope is that it can then embody justice and equity for all bodies. Today, I'm going to close us with a poem, of course. And as some of you will probably say, of course, it's Mary Oliver, if you know me well. As I read this passage from Mary Oliver, I want you to envision this passage as a prayer for us, not only for us individually, but for us collectively as a world. And may this be our closing prayer. The poem is called Wild Geese, and it comes from Mary Oliver's book, Dream Work. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. May all of our bodies have a place in the family of things. Amen.
Thank you, Vance. Oh my goodness. That was wonderful. And we do love Mary Oliver. Come on. We hope that each of you on your individual path through the joys and questions of life found some common ground with your fellow travelers here today who are gathering virtually today. We extinguish our virtual flame today with words from Maureen Killeran. We extinguish this chalice flame, daring to carry forward the vision of this free faith, that freedom, justice, and reason will one day prevail in this nation and across the earth. Announcements and Zoom links for all Pathways events can be found in your weekly newsletter in your email box and also on the Pathways website, pathwaysuu.org. Also in the newsletter and on the website are instructions for our options for maintaining our pledges and donations to Pathways and to our outreach partners. Following the service, we hope you will hang around for a few minutes of socializing before the adult classes begin at 11:30. And now let's remain muted, but join in spirit the anthem, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People."
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, singing, singing for our lives. We are getting straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
All right. Where did my PowerPoint go? Share. I'm going to try again. Well, we seem to have lost our picture, so we will just.
Marge, you've got the arrows down on the bottom bar there. You're on slide 25. If you do that right arrow, it should go to slide 26, and you should get the next slide.
Thank goodness for a man that knows things. Look at that. Great.
There we go. Thank you, Tim. Our closing words today are by the Reverend D. Scott Cooper. The world aches for us to join together and bring about healing, toll for justice, and produce ever-increasing love. This is our calling. Go forth and act accordingly. And now we come to the end of our virtual service. We can everyone unmute yourselves. We'll stop screen sharing and socialize to our heart's content for a few minutes.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Gallery view, you can see everybody.
Sure is what we needed to see today.
Thank you, Vance, for doing our talk today. We really appreciate your being here.
Yes. Yes.
It was
It was
wonderful.
very, very timely. Very
Thank
timely.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vance.
Well, I appreciate you all, and I appreciate this community, and also, you know, it is kind of a silver lining that, I mean, this, you know, it is one silver lining of the coronavirus is that things have gone virtual, and so I do have the opportunity to preach from Asheville and to be with you from Asheville, which is great.
And we can hear you from Colorado.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's one thing about this that's been really neat. Like, people can connect from all over the world. Like at the Wednesday meditation group, we have a man who comes, you know, from Taiwan, and it's like, that's pretty awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to tell my friend. I'm sorry I ran off, but I have a friend that's moving away. I probably will never, ever see her again because we're both old and because she's moving away and I don't drive very much and I don't want to get on an airplane. But what I did here was wonderful, but it's just, this Zoom is absolutely lovely. Absolutely.
I'd still rather see you all in real person.
No, I couldn't even hug my friend goodbye. I'm just standing there with tears.
It's sad. I'm sorry, Barbara.
It's a bummer.
Someday we'll be able to get back together. Hopefully not too far away.
Well, hopefully by next year anyway.
Well, they're saying those trials on several different vaccines are going according pretty solid.
Remember,
in Britain, they're doing 30,000 people in a trial, and somewhere in the States, I read they're doing 10,000 people on a separate trial. So they're speeding along. Let's try to get that done as fast as possible.
I'm still
gonna
waiting
be
for
on
Dr.
one.
Fauci. I'm
I'm
waiting
going
for
to be
Dr.
on one of the
Fauci.
trials next week. I'm starting.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wow.
I knew that, Nova. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on one of the Pfizer ones.
Wow.
Vaccine,
Taking the
I'm
risk.
sorry, phase
Yeah.
3. Yes, phase
Thank
3. And I
Well, how
think
do they work that? Do they give you how do they work that? How do they do the trial without you getting the virus, or how do they do that?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. I'm fixing to find out. I know I get paid, and if I get it, they give me more money and take care of me.
This is a
If I
vaccine.
survive it.
That's
Well,
really
let's
what.
hope, I can't do that because if I get it, I have an autoimmune disease. I'm a goner. I'm on
They wouldn't
chemotherapy every
take you.
day,
Yeah.
steroids.
They wouldn't take you if you have any kind of thing like that. You can't be on steroids. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on steroids every other day, and chemotherapy every day. So.
Yeah, you don't know. They wouldn't touch you at all.
Yeah. That's why I have to stay safe. I want to live through this stuff.
I've got risk factors. Well, we all have risk factors, but I have like 5 of them, so I'm going to try to be careful.
Wow, you better be careful, girl.
I am.
Okay.
Double mask.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Would you all let me do a very short commercial?
Yes.
God, Barbara's never done a short anything. But yeah, go ahead.
Talking is my best skill.
Yes.
Well, listen.
I like your lipstick.
A lot of you all know about Tarrant Together, and they're very active, and they're ginning up their letter campaign again. And let me tell you really briefly, these letters are going to people who are new residents, and they are going to be pre-printed letters, and they will accompany a registration form. And all they're asking people to do, it is just so easy. All they want you to do is stuff the envelope. I think they're going to decide to use envelopes that have the stamp already on them from the post office. And all you need to do is fold your letter and the form and put them in an envelope. And the hardest part about it is just addressing the envelope. They have, the lists of addresses, and if you think you'd like to do that, my name, my address, my email is in the directory. Just let me know, and they're just kind of doing the last little bit of their proofing. And if you feel like you could do that, let me know, and then we'll work out exactly how we can. This pandemic makes it very difficult to do anything. So getting the letters to you and getting them back is the only problem we really have. And we'll probably look at maybe finding parks that are in an area, and then letting people just come and pick up the number they want to do. And here's the thing. You must be registered by October the 3rd to vote in this election. So we need to move them, get them out. So just let me know if you want to do this.
I'm working on 75 postcards, but I could help with that.
I have to say that, Barbara, that was in fact a brief commercial. That's excellent. You would have fit a double commercial spot on television. Very well done.
I hate to ruin my reputation, but I didn't.
Your reputation exceeds you, Barbara.
Barbara, this is Nova, and I'll do it. I'll take sides.
Good. I just think nearly everybody in this church would. There's just nothing to it. And, the whole idea is we want to, this election is critical, and we need to get everybody that is at all interested involved.
We'll be going to Panama or Belize.
That's right.
I'll be going somewhere. Canada.
Next Wednesday, I start working with Beto's campaign for Democrats.
Yeah.
phone
good.
calls.
We all need to do everything we can.
Yeah.
I'll
And,
be home on
and I've
Wednesday,
offered,
so
I've
when
offered
I
to
get
do
home on
phone calls
Wednesday, I'll
for,
call
for
you,
Barbara.
Barbara. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta go now because we gotta be out of the park by 11. So
Oh,
we gotta get packed up and go. But it's great.
Oh,
seeing
are you coming home? You're coming home?
I'm coming home. Patrick's staying up here, but I'm flying home. So wish me luck.
Be
Good
safe.
luck.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Take care.
Wear two masks.
Bye. Good to see you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Annette. Bye, Patrick.
Bye.
I'd like to thank the people that made this service happen today. Alec and Mark
Yes.
and Eric and Vance, of course. Thank you.
Yeah.
You touched my heart, and I've got a lot to think of, and thank you.
Yeah. You
Thank
do. That was
everybody.
beautiful. It always is.
It was a wonderful service. Thank
Yes, it
you.
was.
I really
Yeah, thank you.
thank Eric and Alec for keeping us going this morning while I was having technical difficulty. Somebody's
What is that?
That's somebody's phone.
Someone's
It's
phone.
Barbara.
Barbara. Mute yourself.
No, I was just saying I need to thank Alec and Eric for keeping things going this morning. I was offline there right at the very beginning, struggling to reboot my slow computer. So thanks, guys.
Sure.
What would we do without them?
Yes.
I know. I
And
told
Margie,
Eric, I
Margie
like
did a good
Eric's
job
background.
too.
Guys, listen. One other thing I want to tell you is I'm
Hey,
thinking.
Barbara, Alec and I were being complimented, so we would like to hear a little bit more of that.
You guys
Get
were
going.
superb. You just outdid yourself every week. Yes.
Hey,
Eric told them to tell me more about my eyes.
Would you guys like to hear the history of Zoom?
No, I would not. I would
No.
live and say no.
we don't want to get you started, Eric.
Tammy, how was your mother?
Wonderful. So everyone, I went to visit my 90-year-old mother in Pennsylvania over the last 2 weeks. And I also had to fly the aircraft, and my sister who cares for my mom was very weary about us coming from Texas, because of course we're in the headlines. But we've been very isolated. I have not been working. I go back to work in a week. I've not been working, and Sierra has not had school. So we've been pretty isolated, and we wore, Nova gave us KN95 masks in the airport and airplane. We visited my mom. We were masked and 6 feet away the whole time. It was very, very sad. I did bring a plastic sheeting so we could give her hugs through the plastic sheeting. I have funny pictures of that. But it was wonderful to see her, because at 90, we just don't know when we'll be able to do that safely again. I go back to work. I work in airports and airplanes, and I kind of feel it will not be safe to visit my mom after that. So thank you, Nova, for asking. We had a wonderful visit, and I just can't wait till it's safe to be around the people we love again.
When are you going back to work, Tammy?
August 1st.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been nice having the time off. Unfortunately, I made work for myself. We've just been doing home improvement projects, so I don't know if that was the wise use of my time, but that's what we did the whole time.
And to Marty, how are you feeling? You had an exciting week.
Yeah, that wasn't exciting. I'm okay, but I'm in still a lot of pain.
What happened,
What happened?
I was driving on a one-way street in the left lane, and the person next to me in the right lane made a left turn in front of me, and I totaled my car and spent 2 days in the hospital.
Oh, no.
I'm okay.
2.5.
2.5. I'm okay. But it was scary, guys, because as I was crashing, I kept yelling, no, it's not time yet.
Oh, no.
Especially because I didn't even go on a trip this week because I wanted to be with Ted instead. And Ted's doing really well, guys.
Yay, Ted.
Yay, Ted.
Well,
And Ted is keeping me laughing all the time.
I
You
know.
know, I
Yeah,
wanted to
keep those
cheer Ted
posts
up,
coming.
and Ted's cheering me up.
He's quite punny.
He
You are
is
very funny.
hilarious. Very funny.
I keep after it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
So
for
Marty,
keeping us laughing.
Marty, is your chest sore? Is that what? Did you hit the?
Yeah. And they kept me in the hospital because there's these enzymes that come to people when you have a heart attack, but you also get those horrible enzymes in your heart when you hit hard. So they were treating me like I had a heart attack, and I said no, And then the cardiologist, I told him everything we do, that I walk 2 to 5 miles a day, I ride a bike, I'm not having a heart attack, but they wouldn't let me go until those numbers went down, and then they understood everything, and I'll be fine.
Becky, how are you doing?
Thank you, honey. I'm doing well. This month has been a real switch, but I've completed a week and a half of dialysis as an outpatient, and each treatment gets a little better. I've had 2 days off. This is my second day off, and I'm feeling pretty good today. So I'm just taking it a day at a time and heading forward to better health.
Take care of yourself, Becky.
Yes, take care.
What, darling?
And Carol Harvey, Carol, are you still here?
I see your eye, Carol.
She's gone.
She's gone.
No, she's down below. She looks like a boxer. She's got that black thing around her head. It looks like she has a helmet on.
There, look.
Yeah, she's at the bottom from my screen.
Are you able to sleep like that, Carol? It looks uncomfortable.
I have to sleep like this.
Oh, bless your heart. That's tough.
Only 4 more nights. I've done 10.
Wow.
Oh, Lordy girl, you are a fighter then. You earned the boxing ring.
Yeah. It's okay.
Well, no more accidents, everybody, okay?
Yes, everybody be careful.
Let's all agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay
Motion
healthy.
supported and seconded. It's approved. No more accidents.
And
Wish it worked that way.
We wish, right?
Yeah.
Always watch the people on your right.
Oh, wow. Marty, how scary.
Actually, I don't trust anybody on the road, whether they're front, right, or center. I watch them.
That's smart.
I'm in the car, man. Because people are crazy. They don't think about what they're doing until they're already doing it. And they're like, oh, maybe I should have done that. Way too late. Crazy.
I'm teaching Sierra to drive. She's 15 now. I tell her to drive defensively. It doesn't make any difference what you are thinking or what you're doing. You really have to assume the other people are not paying attention. It's sad, but it's the way it is. People are so distracted now.
Yeah. It's funny. I didn't teach my boys to drive defensively. I call it offensive defensive. It's like, assume they're going to get in your way or be a problem.
Right.
And when they're not, you're happy. But if they are, you're ready.
Right.
So it's kind of weirdly, it's no longer good enough to just be defensive. You got to actually, because like people don't telegraph their intention like they used to.
No.
You drive on a car, you looking like that person wants over. You can feel it. You can tell. But now you're like driving along and then they just go over. You're like, what?
Yeah, people are not paying attention. They're on their devices. It's scary.
Driving.
If you guys are bike riders, please don't ride on the road. Ride on trails.
I agree. I won't ride on the roads anymore after living in a place with bike lanes. When I lived in California, there were bike lanes. Even when Sierra was a baby, I could take her out in the trailer behind my bike on a lane that was designated for bikes, and I'm scared to go on the roads now.
Don't do it.
That sounds like another great example of disembodiment.
Yes, it is, Vance. It really is.
Yeah.
The
driving and using devices and not paying attention to your body or the body of your car.
Right. No, it's true.
One thing I want to say is I love your talk, and I've always thought of the earth as God, but I called her Mother Nature. She's my God.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I love that line. The earth as the body of the divine.
Imagine how we would all act if everybody felt that way, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we would really treat each other and the planet a lot differently.
Well, it's like interesting. Beth heard the other day that they did a study, and they said that the overall measured vibrations of the human impact, the noise vibration. So that's everything from industrial to machinery to airplane noise to just us, the noise of our lives, 50% down. So
Right.
I'm curious
Yeah.
to see what that actually ends up, what knockoff effect that happens because of that. Because we've already seen cases like in tourist areas with the monkeys getting aggressive because there's nobody feeding them from the cafes and bistros that were doing tourism. So there's already been a balance change, a balance shift of nature. But how much is going to happen from further reductions of things like that? Because I mean, even if those vaccine tests go well, it's still going to be another half a year or a year before things rebound.
Well, I know I live by DFW Airport, and just the reduction in the flights near my house, I mean, it's a lot more quiet around here. And that makes, I'll tell you, all of that daily noise really affects our physical, emotional well-being. And just to not have it, I can tell the difference when I'm in my home. So we definitely have a more peaceful world with the reduced activity.
Yeah.
Yes, and hopefully when we get our new president, we will be piggybacking off of this environmental impact and have a good start to what we can and cannot do going forward. I'm hopeful for that.
I'm hopeful too.
Agreed.
It's good seeing everybody. Ruby, how are you?
I am fine, thank you, Tammy. And I'm just delighted to see everyone. And Vance, I loved your embodiment. I loved the whole service, but particularly embodiment. And I have been trying to say something, and I call it deep understanding and feeling. Yours is better. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
I like deep understanding and feeling.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't say better or worse. I mean, I think it's probably just different ways of articulating, and different things sit with different people. I love the deeper understanding. Like that's powerful. Because that has to sit in our bodies, right?
Okay.
Thank you, Ruby.
You're certainly welcome. Thank you for being with us. Marge and Eric and Alec and all, the service was beautiful. Thank all of you.
It was.
Yes, yeah. I miss our in-person services, but I really love when we can do this.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. As someone said, I think earlier, the silver lining. The best we can do, not quite good enough, but it's better than nothing, right? And Jennifer, it's always good to see you. Think of you often.
Yeah, you too. You're looking good.
Thank you. You too.
Ruby, I
Good to
miss
see
you.
everybody.
Yes, Ruby, I miss you too.
Yeah, I miss all of you. But it's good to see you, even if it's not every week. And one of these days we'll get back to the hugging thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope so.
Absolutely.
I miss contact with people, like just a handshake. I'd settle for the A-frame hug at this point.
Yeah, even an elbow handshake would be good.
Exactly. Yeah, beggars can't be choosers, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's hard.
So
We'll catch you guys later. We miss you guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Beth.
Take care.
Bye, Tim. Bye.